Welcome to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. On this episode of World Talks, we focus on Hungary. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban is on his way to Washington next week for talks with President Donald Trump, but the visit is coming at quite a tense moment. His narrative about Vladimir Putin's readiness for peace has fallen apart, and also leading Trump to cancel a planned summit with Putin in Budapest. Moreover, US sanctions on Russian oil are threatening Hungary's key energy supply. And after Viktor Orban sought an exemption for Hungary from those sanctions, well, Donald Trump's administration simply denied his request. Joining me now to discuss the latest details is former Hungarian Foreign Minister Péter Balázs. Mr. Balázs, welcome to the program. So glad to have you here with us on World Talks here on TVP World.
Good morning.
All right, sir. So now the U.S. wants Hungary to respect sanctions, right, on Russian oil. Trump denying this exemption for Orban. What do you make of it?
Well, Hungary has been insisting on maintaining the purchase of energy from Russia, and the government of Mr. Orban hasn't taken any measure like the Czech Republic or many other countries to find alternatives. And Orban has tried several times to ask a waiver from the United States. A few weeks ago, he tried to explain to President Trump that Hungary was a landlocked country and we have no other possibility than to rely on the old Druzhba pipeline from Russia, which is not true. Donald Trump believed that argument. However, experts pointed to the fact that Hungary action to the Adriatic Sea across Croatia, which could replace without any problem the Russian sources. Now, Orban is going to Washington for the first time since the return to office of Donald Trump. It is a late reward for the moral support of Orban to the re-election of Trump. And now one of his objectives is obviously to try again to get a permission, a waiver, Donald Trump, but I don't think it would be possible, as just on his way back from the Far East on his presidential plane, the president declared that, yes, Orban is a friend, but there is no way to let him out from this sanction.
Mr. Balázs, what else can we expect from this meeting that the White House has said will take place on November 7? What else is Viktor Orban hoping to achieve and to walk out with?
Well, he had some high hopes before about the summit meeting between Trump and Putin in Budapest.
Which is now cancelled.
But it was cancelled because, because preconditions are not given. The Russian position hasn't changed at all, and that's why the two foreign ministers realized that this summit shouldn't take place right now. In the explanation of the Hungarian government, they speak about a postponement, but I don't see any attribute of a postponement. This is a pure and simple cancellation. So this was one point. And there is another point. Orban has declared in the Hungarian radio that he's going for concluding kind of a framework economic agreement. So some economic cooperation projects, including the double taxation problem, which President Biden has approved a few years ago, and Orban would be released from this double taxation issue, and some not known economic cooperation projects. But the main thing is that Hungary cannot jump out from the customs union of the EU, and Hungary is a victim, just like the whole EU, of the voluntary customs duties applied by Donald Trump.
But I mean, let me ask you something about the exemption. I mean, you're saying that you don't think so, but is there any chance? I mean, I'll give you an example. When Zelensky was going to the White House to visit Trump to get an okay for those Tomahawk missiles, there was talks ongoing that maybe, possibly Donald Trump would have agreed to it. And then Vladimir Putin speaks on the phone with Donald Trump, and suddenly Zelensky is completely rejected. Could we see a similar scenario here where Trump would simply change his mind and agree to give Viktor Orban what he wants, what he's asking for?
Well, I think we know all that the US president is highly unpredictable, and he is frequently changing his position just overnight. So everything can happen. But having in mind all the fringe conditions, the general situation, I don't see any real possibility of giving such kind of a waiver, such kind of an exception to Orban in the actual situation. Because yes, Trump is taking the decisions, but the U.S. administration is behind him, and the Foreign Minister Rubio is taking a clear position, and he is the one who has suggested the cancellation of the Budapest summit. And I think there are other considerations, like Senator Graham sent a very tough message asking the EU not to let out from the sanctions Hungary, together with Slovakia and Turkey.
Mr. Balázs, to my understanding, and do correct me if I'm wrong, Orban will be bringing quite a big team to discuss, right, relations between U.S. and Hungary. Do you think, I mean, it's only going to be, of course, about this energy talks, or more about also security, more financing from the United States? How do you think that part will play out? I mean, why such a big team?
Well, I think Orban had high hopes before of getting some kind of a special treatment for Hungary. But Hungary is an integral part of Europe, integral part of the European Union in trade issues, and integral part of NATO. And if you add that Hungary has no special geopolitical position, Hungary is in the center of the Carpathian Basin, not exposed to the Russian aggression as much as the Baltic states, as Poland, as Romania. But Hungary is behind the mountains, an unimportant strategic point. So I don't think that there would be any motivation on behalf of the US government, apart from the political sympathy between Trump and Orban, apart from the moral and political support Orban is offering to extreme right politicians, just like in the last days, Zbigniew Ziobro was received in Budapest at a very high level and with big festivity, together with his former deputy Romanowski. Well, this is a political theater, but I don't think it would result in US gestures in the economic field.
And thus, what would be the consequences for Hungary's economy and foreign policy posture because of this?
Well, the Hungarian economy is in bad shape for two main reasons. One is bad governance of the Orban regime since almost 60 years. Orban has won the elections one after the other, but his governance was declining and rather quality, in particular in the field of economy. So there is no economic growth. Hungary is delivered to the market situation of the car industry. We have Audi and Mercedes in the country. And the other problem is the suspension of EU funds for Hungary because of rule of law problems. And Orban is preferring the maintaining of his regime and not giving any understanding and concession to new conditions. He is losing money, and that money is badly missing from the Hungarian economy. The state budget is in a bad shape. So I think we are looking forward to the next year's parliamentary elections, most probably in April, and this government is in danger because there is a real threat on behalf of a new challenger, the TISA party led by Péter Balázs.
Right. Now, on exactly what you just said, you're mentioning elections. So some are worrying that Orban could actually interfere with with elections or possibly even refuse to admit, to accept results. How real do you think that risk is going to look like, given everything that you've just mentioned?
Okay, on the picture you see now Péter Balázs, the challenger I have just mentioned, and I think everything is possible, what you have asked. Trying various tricks to change some conditions of the elections, or not to admit a defeat if it happens. So following the footsteps of Donald Trump, as he didn't accept defeat last time. I think democratic conditions should be maintained, and there is a rather strong popular movement in Hungary. A few days ago, we have commemorated the 1956 revolution, and there were two parallel festivities, one called by Orban and the other one called by Péter Balázs. And the second one was at least twice as big as the camp of the supporters of Orban. So we see a growing resistance in Hungary against the government policy, and there should be some public resistance if Orban tries not to accept a defeat, which can happen. However, time is very long until next April. Many things can happen inside the country and on the international scene as well.
And just very briefly, Mr. Balázs, before I let you go, just really, in a couple of words, what do ordinary Hungarian citizens want?
Well, first of all, a better economic situation, more money, better revenues, lower prices. We have the highest VAT in Europe, 27% on almost everything. Better schooling, better healthcare, which are in a very bad condition, and more jobs, because hundreds of thousands of Hungarians are working in Western Europe. So there is a general expectation that public services and the economic situation should be better, and what we need for that is a better governance.
Thank you so much, Mr. Péter Balázs, former Hungarian foreign minister, for being with us here on World Talks with us on TVP World. Thank you so much. And that's all for this edition of World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Diana Skaya. Thanks for watching.